Hey, yeah, things are a little different. I actually had to look for something that's for this video, so I was moving things, wore myself out, so I went out, and there was some new candy in the dish. So the funny thing is that with Milky Way, it reminded me. I think for a short time they had some candy going around. At least it could be one of those things, and it was just like a photoshopped thing. And they were saying that it was a Mikey Way. So I don't know if it was an actual thing that was marketed for a little while or anything. So, but I think they had Coca-Cola that was Frank Zero, Frank Zero. Yeah, it didn't work out as well because Mikey Way and Milky Way, and that one worked out so well. But anyway. And also, for all of you that know about my obsession with tea, I got a new one. Look at that. Yeah, I posted it on Twitter and Instagram. I was at the Highland Festival, and look at that. Because everyone in the family had one. That was like that. My parents have matching ones, because I think almost every single mug set that they have is. I think my mom has a couple. And I think my dad has one that's not. But yeah, we all have one. The style, my brother and I both have a style that's the same, but the design is different. But I'm a little surprised because they didn't have, that was the last one that they had, and I really wanted it, but there's a little scratch on it, and we got a discount, so it's smaller than all my other ones. I'm like, oh, I'll be doing a lot of refills. But I think the biggest one I have is that Lone Ranger. And I have a bigger one still. Never seen that one. Oh, I wouldn't be able to drink. The amount of tea that goes in that. Yeah, it's a BB-8. And my brother got it for me for Christmas. Because if you haven't noticed, I really like BB-8. He's adorable. But, yeah, my brother got it for me for Christmas, and he's like, when I got it in, because he ordered it, and he says, I didn't realize just how big it was. So it's my soup mug, and that's what I use it for, because there's no way I'm going to drink something out of it unless I'm really sick. I think I used it one time for when I was really sick, and I had, like, I don't even remember. Anyway, that's not the point of this. In case you were wondering. But, so, I'm trying to get something done. Castlevania. Hopefully I'll get it done tonight. I'm pretty close. It all depends on how quickly. I was watching some documentaries and then something caught my eye. Then the recommended, and it turns out that there's been a lot of art theft this year. And there's the beauty thing going, but yeah, there's art theft going, and can we call it what it is? It's plagiarism. I can remember when I was going to college, and one of the things that they would tell us every semester, every time we would start up a new semester, they would say, you know what? If you're stealing from another student, that's plagiarism, and you're gone, because we don't tolerate that. Every so often when it was a favorite, and we'd be like, get them out of here. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, if you're not familiar with the word, here we go. Because I have a dictionary. Yeah, when I say I'm old school, That's why I was going through my boxes. So, plagiarism is an instance of plagiarizing. So when you look at plagiarize, take and use the thoughts, writings, inventions of another person as one's own. Pass off the thoughts, etc., of another person as one's own. Plagiarizer. A kidnapping. So technically you're kidnapping their thoughts and writings and everything else. So Tesla was the original and Thomas Edison was the plagiarizer. Let's just be fair. When you look at the silent film, Georges Méliès was the original, Thomas Edison, plagiarizer. It's just the bottom line. It's plagiarizing. That's what you're doing. I mean, you know, we keep calling it, well, they're art theft. Plagiarizing. Plagiarizing. Bottom line. And plagiarizer, also see pirate. So you're pirating. And so it's just, you know, yeah. Yeah, that's the end of the video. No. No, you know, a lot of people, I saw someone else, and I don't remember the video, but they were getting upset because there was this thief, this plagiarizer, pirate, thief, plagiarizer, pirate, who, basically their whole thing was they were tracing over other people's work, and they were selling it at conventions. And it wasn't just other artists, they were actually taking stuff from Nintendo. It's like, that's bold to think that, because, you know, I have a lot of friends who, one gal, she used to sell at conventions and everything. You know, she is a seamstress and everything, so she had quite a line of work. And she had her own business and everything, and she doesn't do it anymore. She just couldn't do it, you know, for health reasons. She stepped away from it and everything. She's doing a lot better. But apparently they would, you know, they had like these security people that would walk through and make sure that your stuff was different enough that they weren't going to get flagged by, say, Nintendo or Marvel or Disney or the like. And so I'm amazed that this person just is able to trace over and sell stuff and get away with it. But but you know what? Even Thomas Edison got kicked in the pants, because what happened was Georges Méliès opened up a studio in New York, and his brother was the one that ran that studio. And all of a sudden, Edison, you know, he tried to snatch, and it didn't work. Because when Georges Méliès was in Europe, oh, he could snatch all over the place. And he was snatching other people. In fact, he even snatched from the gentleman that filmed Roundhay Gardens. That gentleman had the technology to do that, and he tried to say that that was his. So nothing he really did was his. You know, he was pirating, he was plagiarizing all over the place. Now with Tesla would invent, but he was like, the stuff is there. Does it really matter who made it? That's basically what he was, and so Tesla didn't care. You know, I mean, we can be mad right and left about the fact that Tesla didn't get credit, but with Tesla, he just cared that it was invented. And it is upsetting that he didn't get proper credit. But the truth of it is that now we do know that he was the one, and so he's now received proper credit. And it is annoying. But when it comes to artwork, you know, I've had artwork stolen from me. It's a little harder with the colorizing technique. It really is, because what you have to do is it's the process, and at the same time, it's the whole thing of having to actually sit down and pull away the layers and everything else. And you know, so I know that people have snatched my work. I've seen it. And I know what layers they've used. So, but it's one of those things where, do I really want to wag the finger at them and say, you stole it? You know, and just go through all of that. Because how many years in court would that take? Because, you know, quite frankly, a lot of times I know how long the process took for me with some of these pictures. Some pictures, like I've said, it take several hours, and other times it takes maybe an hour. So it's like, is it really worth spending 3 or 4 years or a decade in court over something so small? I mean, no, it's irritating, but really not worth it, in my opinion, with the colorizing, with the colorized pictures. With other things, you know, like with my photography, I will fight you tooth and nail. Yeah, that's another story. And I have had to fight people on that one. But here's the funny thing. You know, like with Georges Méliès, and with that, you know, like, you know, receiving credit for your work and everything. I mean, like back then they had to know that it was George's work, but with the whole thing with um Edison, he was just selling bootleg, but at the same time, that's pirating. That's plagiarism, because you're receiving money off of someone else's work. It's plagiarism, downright plagiarism, and say it like it is. It's theft, and so, but with that, they had to know that that was George's work. I mean, they, you know, the fact that you look at Edison's work compared to the work that Melez had put out, they had to know. There's a huge difference, and that's the thing. I know that there are videos out there that talk about how you can steal art and everything, and how easy it is and everything. Let me tell you something about that. An artist knows their work. They know their work. I mean, I know when I, you know, that was one thing, part of my training. And when we had to work, you know, when we would capture a photo, and one of the things, like with architecture was my final portfolio, for instance. I'll use that as an example. Now, with architecture, you have to understand that, of course, the lens is circular. Well, you want the straight lines with architecture, so you have to go in and make everything straight. And that was the thing, is that I know that the young the daughter of Bruce Willis, Rumor Willis. I always say her name wrong, and I do apologize. But she threw a massive fit because she did that photo shoot, and then she got up in arms over, you know, I'm getting really tired of people getting bashing photographers. Not every photographer is going to Photoshop the crap out of you, okay? You know, there have been blunders, and I know that with Keira Knightley, especially with the 2004 King Arthur posters, that was awful. I don't know why they released those. You know, if you don't know, with Keira Knightley, the King Arthur posters, they enhanced her bust. I don't know why. I don't know why they did that. And so I understand her outrage with that, but here's the thing. Why did she protest photography using photography? It's flawed. Absolutely flawed. I almost feel like the whole point of it was just to have a photo shoot where she was topless. And it's just, and you know, she was old enough that, and she was a big enough actress that she could zoom in and say, I don't want these photos going out until I approve them. So I don't understand why, but anyway, um, with Rumor and or Rumar or um, she lashed out at the photographer because he touched up her face. Again, the lens is round. It does this thing, and you always have to touch it up. Be it nature, be it portrait, be it architecture. It doesn't matter what you do. You have to fix it. You have to make it flat because it's always circular. So, and that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to get at is when you fix a photo, you're going in and you know that photo, every bit of it, because you've gone up and around. I can remember sitting in that room in school and I know every single photo, every inch of those photos. So if somebody is going to take off a tag, there's going to be, yeah, there's going to be problems with it. And yeah, artists know, and they know their work. So if you go in and mess with it, oh, we'll know. The other thing is, you know, especially with the digital age, everything has a timestamp. I have digital files that, I mean, when you save something, it saves that day. So if someone swipes off the internet and starts screwing around with that piece, they have the newest version of it. Now, with PSD files, like with my photography, there's layers on there. And the JPEG file doesn't have that. And there's things called the raw file and that sort of thing and everything. So the thief doesn't have that. See, when I had someone try and steal one of my photos here of one of the historic buildings, and they're flaring up, they're saying they're going to take me to court because I'm trying to say that one of their, you know, that photograph is theirs and you know their photograph is mine and right and left, and they're like, I'm going to call the police and everything. And I said, I can prove it. I can prove that this picture is mine. And I started to bring up the pictures and everything. All of a sudden their story didn't pan out because the timestamp for me went back, and theirs was only like a couple weeks, And yeah, mine was like 2 years. So, and yes, that timestamp is everything. Always look for flaws, when they're trying to take tags off and everything. There's ways of removing layers. Like I said in the beginning, you can pull back layers. There is ways of doing that. So, like I said with the um finding people that have taken some of my pictures and removed the tag and like cropped and just decided to put extra layers on. There are ways of pulling that back, and because when you pull that back and then you see and everything, so there are techniques of for these who are um, pirating, plagiarizers. We should just call it like it is, plagiarizing. And it's not just in the art world. You see it in music, and you see it. I mean, you see it everywhere. And I can remember watching a lot of the, like the lawyer shows from way back when. There was a Matlock episode. I don't think any. Well, you might. I don't know if they show it on Hallmark Channel anymore, but there was Matlock episode with the art. They did quite a few with art theft, and some of those others. Perry Mason did like 2 or 3. And what they did is they showed how the the thief would paint over the piece that they stole, and yeah, it it's been a thing forever, but it's really bad now. But the thing is that these days it's so easy to find. Not as easy as it was. I mean, it's easier now than it was back then. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, guys, yeah, it breaks my heart that, well, it breaks my heart and it makes me angry that this happens, because I'm an artist too. I mean, if you've watched my channel, you see that. And so, but there are ways of, um, like I pointed out, I'm not going to repeat it because I hate repeating myself. So if you're an artist, those are some ways of catching a plagiarizer, a pirate, or whatever word you want to call it. And so, anyway, I hope this helps in some way.